Yeah. And so when someone learns how to seek their own joy, they kind of get in touch with their values, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. They start to get in touch with their values and then just their mindset, right? Like, what's the mindset? That's the next piece of finding joy. Because joy is a choice. And so how you approach whether you approach your corporate job or your entrepreneurial job, it all comes down to your choice every single moment.
It's Retreat and Grow Rich, the podcast. I'm Darla LeDoux, best-selling author, coach, and retreat leader. And I'm on a mission to normalize transformation on the planet, one intimate retreat at a time. This show's dedicated to the coaches, consultants, healers, leaders, and light workers who are here to hold space for the truth that transforms lives and get paid for it. Expert retreat and business tips, strategies, stories, and magic. It's your weekly mini retreat delivered right to your ears. Let's do this. Okay, welcome. And I'm so excited to be here with Dawn Kaiser. And Dawn, I'm going to have you share your story in a minute, but thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. I know you speak with audiences all around the world, spreading your message of joy and following your dreams. And so I love that you've taken time to be here with us. And I'm going to just tell people a little bit about you and then have you share yourself.
Perfect. So, awesome.
Dawn Kaiser is a leapoligest and joy refueler who specializes in energizing, encouraging, and equipping individuals to step out of their comfort zone and into the courage zone in order to pursue their God-sized dreams. For many years, Dawn tiptoed into exploring her dream of being an entrepreneur. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Speaker, writer, and coach. But it wasn't until a complete stranger told her that it was her time to shine did she dare to take the leap and go all in, and she's never looked back. Dawn believes that everyday people pursuing extraordinary dreams helps them discover everlasting joy. She's on a mission to set the world on fire with joy and help others go beyond a life of fine to a life of flourishing. She loves serving God-sized dreamers, she calls them, by empowering them to leap into their calling and make their wildest dreams someday become a reality today. Dawn has her ME, CS, ALS, PHR, SHR, MCP, and a whole host of other alphabet letters, which boil down to meaning she has experience in human resources, education, leadership, and communication. She has been in the HR, organizational development, and training field and speaking for over 17 years. She is a self-professed joy junkie who loves to spread delight wherever she goes. And I've had the chance to experience Dawn in person, and this truly is who she is. So welcome, Dawn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Darla. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
I love it. So, I have to ask to start off with a complete stranger telling you it was your time to shine. So how did this happen? And why was that such a big thing for you?
So it was definitely a life-changing moment. Kind of the backstory to that, I landed what I thought was my dream job in 2008. If you had looked at my journals in college, I had wrote, if I can become a corporate trainer, that will be the perfect job. And I've made it for the rest of my life. Well, I landed that job in 2008, and probably about year 3, year 4 into that job, I started going, there's this restlessness inside and something more. But I wasn't quite, the intro said, I was kind of tiptoeing, but I wasn't quite sure, but I knew there was this calling. And so being a person of faith, I really just started praying, going, okay, God, what's next? I thought this was the ultimate goal in my life. So tell me what is next on that end. And so for about a year, I was really doing some digging, talking with my current boss about where we could still partner together in my career. And then also just kind of putting out seeds going, okay, what else is possible? And so without knowing this, that complete stranger who got introduced by a mutual friend of ours walked into the coffee shop. So without knowing the back history, and just said, I don't know if you believe in this kind of stuff, but I read an article about you in the newspaper. And when I read it, I felt like the spirit was pressing on my heart that I needed to reach out to you and tell you that it's your time to shine. She's like, I don't know where you're at in your career or what you're thinking, but it's your time to shine. And she just went on her merry way. And I just sat there going, like, what just happened? And so she went on her way, and the friend I was having coffee with had known that I had been praying about it for over a year. And she said, I cannot believe that just happened to you. She's like, what are you going to do with that? And I'm like, what can I do with that? I have to go. Like, I have to. And I turned in my resignation. A week later, I was out of a job and into my big leap of faith of becoming this entrepreneur.
Amazing. I just have chills all over my body at like the way you trusted that and made that decision so quickly.
Yeah.
So you call yourself a leapologist, which has to do with leaping in to your God-sized dream and having that leap of faith. So that's such an amazing example of demonstrating that. Yeah. What have you learned about leaps of faith in your journey?
Number one, the biggest lesson that I've learned is there's not a one-time leap of faith that you make in your life. Like, I thought that was my biggest leap of faith when I quit my job, and I'm going, okay, God, I did this.
You're like, phew, I did it.
Right? I made it. And now 3 years later, it's like, oh my gosh, like there have been, I don't know how many little leaps of faith in between and some even bigger leaps of faith. And so that is probably my number one lesson that I've learned, is that it is a continuous leap that we have to take. I think the other thing is too, that the leaps don't have to be from point A to point B. It can be A1, A2, A3, A4, and that's going to get you to point B. But so many people stop and stay stuck in their comfort zone because they don't want to make that gigantic leap. And big leaps can happen, but it also is all about the little leaps that you take in life. Just even to say it out loud, what is your dream, is a leap of faith in and of itself. It doesn't have to be everybody turning in their resignation to quit their job right now.
That's so powerful. Yeah. Just saying it out loud sometimes is the next step.
Yeah. Right.
Along the way, over and over again.
Yeah.
I know I've had moments, you've probably heard me say this at some point, where I say, I'm saying this out loud, so that means it has to be real now.
Right?
Yeah.
I told somebody else, I can't keep it in my head that way. And yeah, just knowing that all those little steps add up to the big picture of life.
Amazing. And so you left your job and you're now a speaker. You get hired and flown around the world, which, I think in my knowing of your story, you were doing that in corporate, but it was kind of comfortable.
Yeah. Because
they were sending you, they were booking you, and now you're on your own and you speak. And of course you coach and hold retreats for clients and all of that. But I think a lot of people would find that to be pretty much a dream, that you took it upon yourself to become a speaker independent of your company.
Yeah. And
now you go back into those companies. And for me, as someone who works with entrepreneurs who are independent and, offering their service in different ways, I think you have an amazing view into different worlds, coming from HR and becoming a speaker and becoming a coach. So what would you share with someone, first of all, who wants to follow in your footsteps?
Number one, I would say just do it, right? Like, do the Nike logo. And if you've really got that calling, then just follow it. Like, don't let the little things stop you. Because honestly, I will tell you, like I said, starting in 2011, I felt the calling and I just didn't take the leap until 2015. So there were 4 years there. And I just want to encourage people to do it faster than I did it. Like, if I can share any lesson learned, like, I wish I had done this, back in 2011, because I absolutely love my life. But I also know that all had to happen for a reason, right? But now I make those leaps of faith faster. And so if you've got that calling, like, do it, because on the other side of a leap of faith, what I found is the everlasting joy. And if you are missing that joy, that's a key way to find that and bring it back into your life.
Wow. I love that, because I was thinking about joy, because that's the message that you bring in to companies, is around joy and how joy helps with client retention and employee happiness and all of these things that we don't necessarily think about. And people might think joy, is kind of like a fluffy idea.
Yeah.
Yet it's an idea that guides me these days. It really is the highest vibration, right? The highest energy. And
Yep.
so, but you've been able to take that into companies and they want that message for their audiences. Tell us about that. Like, what is it that companies are seeking, or why does that message resonate for people?
So I think it resonates because, like you talked about, joy is the highest vibrational energy. And there are studies and researchers out there showing the connection between joy and productivity. And I don't know too many companies that go, I don't want my employees to be productive.
Right.
Like, that's just not what they want them to be, right? And if I can give them a simple solution, not a complicated solution, to increase their productivity, to increase their employees' wellness, that also helps with their productivity. It's like that to me is a no-brainer. And then those companies are starting to see that, going, okay, we can do this. Like, it's not a fad, and it's not this one simple formula. It's little steps to add joy. And I think for many years we confused joy at work with meaning party rooms or slides or ping pong tables and all that kind of stuff. And really what I help them understand is the root of joy is the inner work that we need to do. When we connect with the inner person, they automatically start to find their way towards joy. It's not about the external, it's about the internal work that we have to do.
Ooh, I love that. So when we connect with that inner world, people automatically find their way toward joy.
Yeah, right.
So it's not about the external environment.
No.
It's about the inner world.
Yeah, it's about the
I
inner
call
world.
it inner alignment, right? I used to have a retreat called the Inner Alignment Intensive, which I look back and think, what a terrible name, but it really is about that, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't think about that. One thing corporations do is they come up with corporate values, but each individual has values as well, but we haven't necessarily articulated them. And that, to your point, is the alignment piece that we start with, is going, what do they value at work? Like, for me, I knew my number one value is that I had to learn. And my second one was that I had to own what I was doing. And if I couldn't do those two things, it didn't matter how much money you threw at me. It didn't matter how many, gifts you gave me. It wasn't going to fill me with joy. Right. But as soon as those two opportunities, and that's the two key things I get as an entrepreneur these days, is I get to learn constantly, which can be frustrating at times, right? But then I also get to own everything. Like, good, bad, ugly, all of it, I get to own it. And those are two things that just make my heart sing. So.
Amazing. And do you think if someone's resonating with those values of learning and owning what they're doing, can they find that in a job, or do they need to take a leap into being an entrepreneur?
No, I think you can definitely, I would say learning was there in my jobs. It just wasn't necessarily always the owning piece of it. And typically it's not just 2 core values, right? Like, there's typically a list of 10 core values that I go through. And most of those have to be a majority in order for people to have joy. It doesn't mean all of them have to be. And it doesn't just mean you have to be an entrepreneur, but I will tell you, for me, that was where I experienced the greatest amount of ownership and joy and freedom and flexibility and all that kind of great stuff as well. But some people don't have those as their core values, as their top ones. And so it's to figure out, what does that look like then for them?
Yeah. And so when someone learns how to seek their own joy, they kind of get in touch with their values, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. They start to get in touch with their values, and then just their mindset, right? Like, what's the mindset? That's the next piece of finding joy. Because joy is a choice. And so how you approach whether you approach your corporate job or your entrepreneurial job, it all comes down to your choice every single moment. And so really working with them on, how do we talk? How do we think? How do we act? And how do those all connect?
Love it. Amazing. Okay. So now I want to ask you about God-sized dreams. So this is our topic for the day. And you mentioned, being a woman of faith, that what you did when you got that message is you prayed.
Yeah.
Or you prayed and then you got the message and then you prayed, right?
Yeah.
And
just keep on praying.
Talk about, today you help people, you're still a speaker, you go in and spread the message of joy and how that creates productivity and retention and all of that. And you're also working with people who want to honor their little nudges, because it's been so joyful for you to do that, right?
Yeah.
So what is the God-sized dream, and how do we find it?
Yeah. So a God-sized dream, in my definition, it's not just about a faith business or a faith ministry. You know, to me, faith is a part of it, but it doesn't mean that you have to pursue becoming a pastor or you have to become a missionary in order to have a God-sized dream. You can be have a dream of being a mom, and that could be your God-sized dream. You could dream of being an entrepreneur, and that could be your God-sized dream. Really, the key components of a God-sized dream are, number one, it has to be bigger than you, right? It has to be bigger than something that you can do on your own. So if it's simply that I'm going to start drinking water for the next 5 days, that's not really a God-sized dream. It's a great habit to develop, right? But it's not a God-sized dream at that point. And number two is that it does align with who you were created to be and who God called you to be. So that's why we go back to that core piece of it has to be in alignment. So, you know, my God-sized dream will never be to start my own baking store. Like, you wouldn't want to even eat if I had a baking store, all the goodies that were there, right? Because it doesn't align with my core values nor my strengths or passions on that end, right?
Okay. So there's so much in what you just said.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I heard a couple of things. One is our God-sized dream is personal to us.
Absolutely.
And there's something that we're called to be that's personal.
Yeah.
And then I'm also hearing that it can come in so many forms. So, you know, yet it affects other people, it sounds like. So there's an order of magnitude of a dream that's God-sized versus like Darla-sized.
Yeah.
That I can do versus what's possible with God.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of the third component there, is that your God-sized dream isn't just about you. It's not just about, ooh, I want to have this bigger house, or I want to have this additional, you know, income. It is about, there is a calling out there that you have a passion for. So part of my God-sized dream isn't just about speaking. My God-sized dream really is that I feel that God's called me to unleash dreamers in this world. Because I think every single person is born with a dream. You look at a child, you don't have to go, oh my gosh, could you sit here and just, you know, play and imagine? Like, that just automatically happens. Right. But along our journey, we stop dreaming. And so my job is to help awaken that and go, okay, let's get back to being the dreamers that we were created to be. And then to know that our dreams have this ripple effect. Like, your dream isn't just about you. When you pursue it, you don't even know who you're going to impact. Yes, you might impact your kids, you might impact your spouse, you might impact friends. But I think of, you know, like Oprah Winfrey, she's not going to know every single person that she's impacted by pursuing her God-sized dream of becoming a transformational leader in this world. But yet her dream has impacted many, many women. I just think of her speech she just gave this year at the Golden Globes, right? And how many people saw that speech, that this is the, you know, day of the new horizon. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, that is a dream that people want to hear. And so, yeah, it's not just about you. And that's where I really work with my clients and going, this isn't a burden. It's really a blessing for you to pursue your God-sized dream, because you're going to be able to bless so many people that you won't even know about as you pursue your God-sized dream.
So, you know, a question that I have is, you know, what stops people from pursuing their dreams? And I feel like you touched on it, that idea that it could be a burden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that. It's not a burden. Or what stops people?
Yeah. So, you know, number one, I think, is doubt. I think doubt is our biggest enemy when it comes to dreaming. Like, we doubt, are we good enough? Do I have, you know, one of the things I hear a lot from people is, well, Don, I don't have those credentials, or I don't have that certification, or I don't have that necessarily background. But again, if you have the passion to pursue it and you have the strengths that line up with that and the core value, it's not about certifications, right? That's a worldly perspective. That's not necessarily a God perspective. God didn't go, okay, I'm going to require all these certifications. I truly do believe that if God called you, he's equipped you in whatever shape, way, form that takes place as well. So I think doubt's there. I think also, again, going back to the leap of faith analogy, we make our dreams so heavy because we think it's a one-stop destination and we have to jump from point A to point B. And point B is so big when it's a God-sized dream. It is so, so big. And we see the vision out there, but we're going, I don't know how that's possible, right? Like, I don't know how to unleash all the dreamers in the world, right? But I got to start somewhere. And so the burden becomes lightening that, going, okay, it's really not my vision when I've got it in alignment with God. It's a God vision, right? And he's got the ultimate end result. I just have to be the obedient one to take those leaps of faith.
So it doesn't have to be so heavy.
No. Nope. Go ahead.
And I guess I want to ask a little bit about your journey. So at Aligned Entrepreneurs, we're all about transformation and really making those shifts to align with who you are. So I'm resonating with what you're saying.
Good.
And have you ever had a moment where you got a vision of the leap that was all the way A to B instead of the baby step? And you went like, how on earth do I get there? And how did you handle that?
Yeah. So I'm in the midst of it right now, right? Like last year, I got this beautiful, beautiful vision of all these dreamers coming together in South Africa and just being on safari and doing mission work and serving others. I have no idea how that's going to happen, how the logistics would work or where that was. And I mean, I just saw massive amounts of people coming together to do this. And so I'm in the midst of it. And I don't know if that's a year from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now. But again, I go back to, I'm going to be obedient with what can I do today to take one step closer to that. Right. And if that's how I make my burden light. Like if I kept trying to make this happen, that dream, I would just become so overwhelmed. So I just go, okay, God, what can I do today to take one step forward on that, right?
I just got this idea that perhaps someone listening here is in South Africa.
Yeah, maybe. I love it.
So amazing. So that's how you make your burden light, is one step.
Yes, one step at a time.
Have you ever had a time where you weren't aware of that? In other words, where you felt like all this pressure or...
Yeah, I would say the first 2 years of my business, I felt the pressure. Like the dream at that point in time was to become this national motivational speaker. And I thought, okay, I have to make it now. And I, created a laundry list, and I'm a planner by nature. So I had like 17 pages of to-do list items in order to make this happen. Right. And it just became so overwhelming. And it wasn't until this transformational shift happened that I realized little leaps of faith add up to the bigger picture, and went, okay, I'm going to stop with the 17 to-do list. Like I still have a master list that I kind of look at every once in a great while, but on a daily basis, it's really just waking up, tuning in and going, what's the next step today, God? And let my to-do list go.
I'm guessing a lot of people who have found me in this podcast have their own version of a 17 long to-do list.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I share mine?
Yeah.
Right? I've got my little stack right here. So, what had to change inside to trust that you could let go of the to-do list?
It really was for me a shift on what my roles and responsibilities are on this journey to a God-sized dream. I used to really feel that I had to have all the pieces of the puzzle, and I was the puzzle master, and I had to fit them all together and have that order ready to go. And I had to know what puzzle piece was missing and what was the next step. And I realized that's not my job. My job is to ask, what's the next puzzle piece that I need to work on? And then leave all the rest of the pieces to the ultimate one who has the God-sized dream, and just go, okay, what's next? And not worry that the puzzle needs to be done today, right? Like letting go. And even though I know life is short and it's fragile, the shift for me was just going, I want to enjoy today. Like if I'm trying to live in the future or live in the past, I am missing out on all the joy that is available right now in this moment.
And how long would you say you were the puzzle master? Like, how did you even create that identity? And how long did you hold on to it?
So I'm going to be honest and say I'm turning 40 this spring and all that kind of stuff. So probably for a good 38 and a half years, right? I was the puzzle master.
Age 2. Okay.
Oh yeah. Age 2 probably started doing that very early on, and making sure even My mom loves to tell the story of how at 2 years old, I actually gave my first speech, and it was to a bunch of cattle that were in our pasture. And I somehow got them circled around me and I was sitting on a tree stump. So I was the puzzle master at age 2 going, okay, cows, you over here and you over here and let's line up and I got y'all.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So we like to create experiences here at Aligned Entrepreneurs. Yeah. And so you have an experience for people who are seeking their God-sized dream to help them, some quick rapid fire questions that can help them.
Yeah.
So tell us about this.
One of the pieces of the puzzle that I work with in my Explore Your God-Sized Dream workshops is passion, right? Because again, your God-sized dream should light you up. It should be the thing that you wake up and you're like, yes, I get to do this today. Now, it doesn't mean every day is going to be perfect, but overall, there is not a day that I wake up right now going, oh my God, I got to work on this dream again. So really, this test is meant for you to discover what is that passion. And sometimes we don't. When somebody asks that question just in the broad sense, what are you passionate about? We kind of get the deer in the headlights look like, I have no idea. So this is meant to kind of just get you out of your headspace and just get in tune with your gut and just go with your first response. There's no right or wrong answers to these questions. It's not good or bad. It's just what is your first instinct as you hear the question being asked to you. Does that make sense?
Ready.
Okay. Perfect. So if you've got a pen and paper, you can write down your answer. If you're just walking and listening, you can think about it and then come back to these questions later on. But question number 1 is, when I was a kid, I dreamed of what? Fill in the blank. When I was a kid, I dreamed of what? Question number 2 is, I can't pass up a book or movie about what? I can't pass up a book or movie about what? Number 3, which is one of my favorite questions, is, if I played hooky from work for a week, I'd spend the time doing what? If I played hooky from work for a week, I'd spend time doing what? Number 4 is, most people don't know this about me, but I really enjoy what? Most people don't know this about me, but I really enjoy. Number 5 is, I am the go-to person when my friends need help with what? I am the go-to person when my friends need help with what? Number 6 is, if I could star in my own how-to TV show, it would be about what? If I could star in my own how-to TV show, it would be about what? Number 7 is, if I were to make a homemade gift, I would make what? Or it would involve what? So if I were to make a homemade gift, it would be or involve what? Number 8 is, I've tried it only 1 or 2 times, but I really enjoy doing what? I've tried it only once or twice, but I really enjoy what? Number 9 is, the closest I come to a runner's high is when I'm. So when's the closest you've come to a runner's high is when you what? And the last question is, if I won first prize in a talent show, it would be for what? If I won first prize at a talent show, so if you got to go on America's Got Talent, it would be for what? So those are the 10 questions, and you fill them in with your gut response. Because again, part of the connection with your God-sized dream is learning to trust your gut. Like going with what your soul is telling you, because that's truly where I feel God, your spirit, resides as well. And then what you do with this test is you take question 1 and 2 and you go, okay, so out of the response that I had when I was a kid, I dreamed of what? And if I can't pass up a book or movie about what? Out of those 2, which one appeals to you more? Is it 1 or 2? And again, just going by gut reaction, 1 or 2. It's about getting out of your head, not going, well, that's not realistic. This is just dreaming at this point in time, right? And so let's say you picked one, then you'd go question 1 and 3. And you go out of those 2 responses, which one appeals to me more? And let's say you just kept saying 1 over, then you go 1 and 4, right? And you do that the whole entire list till you get what we call your top 5 passions. And then you start to look at, are there some commonalities in those passions that might tell me what my God-sized dream might be about? There are other key components to a God-sized dream that I work with my clients on, but that's one that we start with, because when you are lit up and on fire, it makes the joy come even faster than when you're doing it because somebody says you're really good at it, or because you think that's logically where you should go in your steps. Logically, I should be an HR trainer because I have 15 plus years of HR experience, right? But that's not where God's calling me to dream and to become in this world. So
amazing. I love that. And based on my answers, I'm in the right line of work.
Yay! I like it.
I love it. And I find that, a lot of the answers are part of what I've designed into my work.
Yeah.
Including asking questions and interviewing cool people. So
perfect. It's a match for today.
Thank you for that. That's so awesome. And for those of you who are listening, feel free to share your insight. You can share it over on our Aligned Entrepreneurs Facebook page and tag Dawn Kaiser. Let her know that she made an impact in your world. And if you want to learn more about Dawn, you can go to dawnkaiser.com. That's her website. And if you go to /Dreamers Retreat, you can learn about her upcoming retreat for God-sized dreamers. So Dawn Kaiser, KAISER.com /Dreamers Retreat. And she actually has a special code for Aligned Entrepreneurs, which is Leapers18. Leapers18. So if you're listening to this when it's hot off the press, you can use that code for her upcoming retreat. But she'll continue to share her work there, and perhaps you will join her in South Africa.
Yeah, maybe.
So that would be cool. Awesome. So Dawn, I have some rapid fire questions for you here.
Okay.
In this segment called Align with This. And there's no right answer. Okay.
Like
so
it.
You're a master actually at the gut feel and the quick response. So this should be good. It's just to get to know you a little bit more.
Love it.
So head or heart?
Heart.
Cardio or strength?
Cardio.
And feel free, if you have an inspiration, you can tell us why.
Tell us about why? Just because you burn more calories on cardio. So.
All about the calories.
All about the calories. No.
Convenience or challenge?
Challenge for me. I like a challenge. Like, I am not the one to just do it easy. I like to grow and learn.
You mentioned that in your values.
Yeah.
Amazing. Create or repurpose?
Create. Definitely create. I'm a starter by nature. I do not like to take somebody else's stuff and go, oh, let's just mess it around. It's like, let's start over, wipe the board and clear it off.
Are you like me? Like I finally have a book, right? Retreat and Grow Rich. And I'm working on my second book. But for years I started books and then I would never want to go back and edit. I would just start a new one. Are you like that?
I am not my good editor. You very much well know that. I just like to, ideas pop in my head. I'm like, oh, let's make this new thing and go off here. And I've had to get present to, is this for now or later? Or do I actually need to stick and follow this all the way through? So yeah.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people can relate to that. Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction. So I'm very much a reader, which is what you can see behind me, but most of it's nonfiction kind of work.
All right. And dogs or cats?
Can I say neither? No. I would say dogs if I had to. I
was noticing I have my little dog mug here. So
yeah, just as long as they're other people's pets, we're good.
I love it. National park or New York City?
Oh, national park. Give me a good hike or some kayaking and I'm in seventh heaven.
Comfy clothes or dress for success?
Definitely comfy clothes. Like, I could just wear my black yoga pants and a comfy sweatshirt all the time. if they'd let me do that on stage.
Well, you could, but we don't know what kind of impression.
Yeah.
Eventually, right?
No, I do like to get dressed up once in a while, but not every day.
Well, I'm curious about this one. Mountains or ocean?
Oh, that's a tough one. Is there some place that's on the ocean that has a view of the mountains? So like Hawaii, where I can have both of them? Like
both. Okay.
Have it all, right?
You want it all.
I want it all.
Stay home or travel?
Oh, definitely travel. I'm a wanderluster at heart, so I love that my job lets me do that.
And giving back, third world countries or your own backyard?
Both on those. I do both in my personal life. And again, that's part of the passion that I tell people when we look at our God-sized dream. It doesn't have to be everybody comes over to Africa to serve on the mission trip. Although in my group, I think that's what we're going to be doing. But not everybody's called to be overseas. And so, yeah, there's people right in our backyard that we can help as well. So it's just the key of helping and serving.
Beautiful. So Dawn, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with us. And if you were to leave people with one thing, what would that be?
Oh, one thing. I think it's that, again, everyday people can have extraordinary dreams, and that is what creates everlasting joy, both in our lives and around the world. And so it's just to begin today. Like, don't postpone your joy. Don't postpone your dream. Because just as that stranger said to me at the coffee shop, I truly believe it's your time to shine.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank
you
you for who you are in the world. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Hey, it's Darla here. Whether you're listening to this episode because you're ready to host your very first transformational retreat, or because you're already hosting retreats and you want to make them infinitely more profitable and life-changing, there's one thing you need to know. You are literally inches away from the game-changing retreat concept that will rock your world. I'm talking about more money, more transformation, and the deeper, more grounded business you dream of. I want to see you get your aligned and profitable retreat idea dialed in and ready to deliver. That's why, after delivering my own retreats for 8 years and working with clients to create their rich retreats, I'm hosting a free interactive workshop where you can refine your retreat idea and receive my personal feedback on your offer so you can bring your retreat to the world with confidence. The workshop is called Pitch Me Your Retreat. It's happening in just a few weeks and it's going to be incredible. And I know it's going to be incredible because, well, this idea literally jolted me out of bed one morning. What's the best way to make these life-changing retreats happen? Roll up our sleeves and dig right in. If you want my guidance to get clear on your retreat idea, I can spot a winning aligned vision and gaps in strategy super quickly. Here's what to do. Hop on over to pitchmeyourretreat.com. Register to pitch me live and receive laser coaching around your retreat. Or you can register and listen in to the guidance I give others. Oh, and I love games, so there are also prizes to be won. I know Spirit is guiding this workshop as we shift the world one transformational retreat at a time, together. Hop over to pitchmeyourretreat.com now to sign up.